All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. So let's get on to this lesson. So disagreements on Iran, Gaza, training Trump, and Netanyahu's relationship. So if you don't know, right? Slovakia. There has been headlines lately saying that Trump has cut off Netanyahu because Netanyahu, right, is being difficult like he's always had, because Netanyahu, who is a Khazarian, right, always believes he needs to have his way. So if you don't know, a lot of the wars that America has gone to was for the plan that the Khazarians had, right? Now, of course, I'm placing that word with the Khazarians, so if you know, you know. Now, let's read. And Donald Trump took office. He and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu were closely aligned on how to approach the most pressing issues in the relationship, the war in Gaza and aggression from Iran. So you see how this says right here? Now, obviously, Salakia, there was no aggression from Iran, really. All the aggression was from Israel. But let's keep going on. Trump lifted the hold on the Biden administration and put on sending large bombs to Israel. Right? But in recent weeks, the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu has become strained as two leaders are increasing at odds over strategy for tackling these challenges now that Hamas has been significantly degraded in Iran weekend. So you gotta understand a lot of this stuff, brethren, that's in this news article. Some of it's straight up false, right? Iran is doing just fine, and the Houthi rebels are putting their work on the ships over there in the Middle East. The real article, the real truth would actually be that Israel can't break through to Iran, so therefore Israel is trying to get Iran involved into doing their dirty work. That's really what it is. So let's keep reading. So where Netanyahu sees an opportunity to finally take out Iran's nuclear facilities, Trump sees an opportunity to remove the threat of Iran, acquiring a nuclear deal by making acquiring a nuclear weapon by making a deal. Right. So I'm going to say this. So basically what's been going on is that Netanyahu wants a greater Israel. But the only way the greater Israel can really happen is if Iran is basically wiped off the map, right? So you have Trump going back and forth and Netanyahu trying to you have Trump trying to go back for Netanyahu trying to make a deal, right? That's going to benefit Israel, of course. But the thing is, Netanyahu keeps asking for more, and more, right? While Iran is not going to have Israel get what they want, right? Iran has said, hey, I'll deter my nukes if Israel can do the same, or something of that manner. So, of course, that's a no-no to Netanyahu, and the deal has basically become impossible to make with Netanyahu's demands. This is why you have Trump in headlines cutting off Israel, saying that he's going to try to work at Iran this time to make a deal, because Israel is just not budging, right? But according to scripture, right, the small will draw out the other nations. So even if Trump did cut off Israel, you have to remember who rules the world, right? Let's get the scripture up. Revelations 2 verse 9. All right. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Right. So we gotta understand is that even though you see these headlines going off and saying Trump has cut off and Yahoo and all this other things, you have to remember Trump is a puppet. He's a Zionist puppet at the end of the day. The ones who are truly in control is the Khazarians. This is why you have a lot of Khazarians in the lobby of Congress. You have a lot of Khazarian politicians. You have a lot of Khazarian big owned companies. For instance, BlackRock. BlackRock is owned by a Khazarian, right? So, and BlackRock owns a lot of things, and you have to also understand is the Khazarians also own these central banks. So Trump has no real power. So understand is that two things are going on. And I believe one thing's going on is that this is just smoke and mirrors, right? Is that what's going to happen is that Israel is going to provoke Iran anyways, right? And America's going to have to get into war. Or another thing is that this is just smoke and mirrors with the Iran and Israel thing. That really what's going on is that they're saying that Trump has cut off Netanyahu, but that's not really the case. What's really the case is that they're telling you that Trump cut off Netanyahu. But what's really going on is that when Israel attacks, right, Trump's going to have an excuse to say, oh, well, you know, Israel attacked and World War III could break us, so now we have to help Israel, right? Personally, I believe that's what's going on. Where it says in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4, I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen, fully armed, great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords, right? So, and this scripture is talking about Russia, right? So the thing is, Russia and China have interest in Iran, right? Because that's who they're protecting, right? And America, even if they don't like Israel, Israel's in too much of a good strategic place to just have it be let go to Iran. So the problem is that you have two interests from two opposing sides. You have from the west and from the east, right? And NATO is full on ready to go to war in the east. So, of course, this is going to end up happening. The war, Israel and Iran going to war is going to happen, and America going to war with Iran for the sake of Israel is going to happen because that's biblical prophecy, right? So soon we will have World War III, right? So I just want to say when you see these headlines and stuff like that saying Trump cut off Netanyahu or anything like that, it's temporary, right? Just like how these cease deals are very temporary. One day you hear that a ceasefire happened between India and Pakistan. The next day, within less than 24 hours or something like that, the ceasefire is canceled, right? Same thing with Russia and Ukraine. There are many, many, many ceasefire deals. Next thing you know, well, maybe sometimes a week, less than a week, the ceasefire deals or the ceasefire ended and Russia went back into destroying Ukraine again. Same thing to Israel and Iran. There could be as many treaties and agreements, but those treaties and agreements would be broken every time, and those ceasefires would be broken every time. And every ceasefire between Israel and Iran has pretty much been broken, right? A ceasefire between Israel and Iran, I don't even think it lasts a week. It may last a day or two, right? Maybe it may last a week. And the only reason why a ceasefire between Israel and Iran will last a week is because they're stocking up on their missiles to go back to fighting each other again. Right? So let's get the scripture out. Have war on. For it says right here, Exodus chapter 17, verse 16, for he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. 17. Okay. Salakia, brethren. Full chapter. Verse 17 says, Exodus, Salakia. It's fine. Alright, so that's the scripture you wanted. For the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So, who was Amalek? The Khazarians, and the ones who say they're Jews but are not living in the Middle East. So this is why this peace treaty will also never end, because the Yahweh is having war with Amalek, right? So Amalek will never leave war until they are completely destroyed out of that land, which belongs to true Israelites, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So I hope this lesson was very edifying to the hopeful, elect, and elect. And all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, and Shalom.